The general lady is recognized.
I thank the gentlewoman for yielding. Madam Speaker, I rise today in support of my bill, H.R. 2290, the Shutdown Guidance for Financial Institutions Act. This legislation would help protect federal employees, government contractors, and small business owners from some of the financial hardships that arise from a government shutdown. The shutdown that lasted from late December 2018 through January of this year, the longest in our nation's history, stretched 35 days and cost the economy billions of dollars. For more than a month, paychecks were put on hold for 800,000 federal employees, and work stop orders went out to federal contractors, resulting in tens of thousands of layoffs. Unlike federal workers, contractors did not receive back pay. Thousands of families saw their lives upended. Missing one paycheck is a hardship for many, but missing two can be devastating. Not only were people struggling to make their rent or mortgage payments, some had to rely on food pantries to feed their families or ration their insulin because they could not afford the copay. And this was through no fault of their own. During this time, a lot of companies stepped up with offers of assistance for people impacted by the shutdowns, including banks and credit unions that offered flexible payment options and no-interest loans. This was especially important for employees in the national security community because financial difficulties can damage their credit scores and put their security clearances and therefore their livelihoods at risk. While it's positive to see so many lenders taking proactive steps to mitigate harm, there were still issues and confusion at some financial institutions, and regulatory guidance from federal government was slow to come. It was not until the 20th day of the shutdown that financial regulators provided guidance encouraging banks to work with borrowers and account holders affected by the shutdown, and to let banks know that such efforts would not be subject to examiner criticism. During the shutdown in 2013, it wasn't until the 9th day that similar guidance was released. Let me give you an example of why this matters. I want to read part of a letter that I received from a desperate constituent in the middle of the last shutdown. She wrote, "My husband and I recently sold our home and put an offer on another home in the area. The mortgage financing for our new home was all set before the government shutdown. Our closing date is set for January 28, 2019 on the new house. Today we learned that the mortgage company is denying our mortgage application because I am furloughed. They consider me unemployed and too much of a risk to finance." Thankfully, my constituent and her lender were able to work through this problem and the mortgage was eventually approved, but this never should have happened in the first place. My legislation would essentially automate the process of issuing guidance by requiring federal financial regulators to release guidance within 24 hours of the start of a shutdown. It also includes a reporting requirement on the effectiveness of the guidance and requires regulators to fix any shortcomings that are identified. Madam Speaker, despite the uncertainty and the hardship of the last few years, federal workers have shown a steadfast commitment to service. They serve in every congressional district in every state, carrying out countless vital responsibilities on behalf of the American people. They deserve way better than the way they've been treated. I'd like to thank Chairwoman Waters and Ranking Member McHenry for ushering this bill to the floor, and I urge my colleagues to support it. I yield back the remainder of my time.
Gentlelady reserves.